The root chakra, survival, life, physicality. The sacral chakra, sex, reproduction, lust, bodily pleasures. The solar plexus chakra, the seat of the ego, the seat of the personal ego and of power. This where the adrenal glands are situated. So when you think about jazz music, you don't think about yoga and chakras unless you're talking about of a very brief period from the time of late John Coltrane to the mid-70s, with the advent and the collapse of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, as led by British jazz rock guitarist John McLaughlin. Other than that, jazz has very little to do with any kind of mystical thought. But we're not going to be talking about mystical thought right now. We'll be talking about something far more practical. The effect of jazz music on our consciousness, on our psychology and our physiology, and how it could be affecting us negatively or positively. We don't know yet. In the yoga tradition, chakras are wheels of energy located along the spine. When you think about the root and the sacral chakra, we think about rock music, we think about soul music, think about sexy music, maybe some forms of earlier jazz, maybe some forms, Peggy Lee, Fever, that kind of jazz. When we think of bebop, hard bop, post bop, jazz rock fusion, we think about the solar plexus. We also think about this here. We think about how intellectual it is, how clever it is, how complicated it is, how complex. What an elitist form of music it is. We are so special. We are so amazing because we love this music. We're lawyers and we're doctors and we're jazz musicians ourselves, and we love this music and nobody else understands it, and we are better than all of them. Solar plexus, personal ego, us versus them, competition, bebop. What happens when you have your adrenal glands and your mind center overstimulated? It causes an imbalance to the system. The system is imbalanced. Does jazz music have any heart? Because the heart chakra, the home of our romantic feelings, is also our familial feelings, feelings of love for our children, for our parents, for our siblings, for our significant others, and a sense of devotion, so an emotional connection to life itself, to nature perhaps. Do these connections exist in bebop and post-bop and jazz rock fusion? You would think they do because, but do they? Listen. You listen for yourself. Perceive what your body feels. Perceive what your mind feels. Perceive it. Observe yourself when you are immersed in this music. It's as unbalanced as it can get. Now, the throat chakra is a chakra of expression. Everything in music energizes the throat chakra to some degree, where at least the throat chakras of the performers are well energized. But somehow you don't feel that. I don't feel that. Somehow that is a little bit suppressed in bop and post-bop music. Is it because it is kind of like Singapore? This music is kind of like Singapore. There's so many rules. There's so much tradition to follow. There was a recent incident regarding a tiny little gem, insignificant in the greater world. I gotta tell you, insignificant even in the world of music. And of little significance in the world of jazz, even a tiny little niche of jazz music, it should count for nothing. But guess what? You got thousands and thousands of people berating one guy who lost his temper at a tiny little jam session in New York City recently because, first of all, he called himself a self-taught legend, and he accused everybody of not knowing a song that he wanted to jam on. But guess what? Who struck the first blow? He claimed that they didn't give him a spot to improvise. Now, in a jazz jam session setting, everybody ought to get a spot to improvise. That's what the jam session is about. It's like you're invited to a barbecue and you weren't given a plate. Why are you there in the first place? You know, he'll be backing other people up, so he'll be serving people plates, but he wouldn't get to eat himself. That is what it sort of boils down to. And okay, he wasn't mad. You'd be mad too, wouldn't you? But I guess you're supposed to just take it. I'm supposed to just take it. We're all supposed to just take it. He was a bit of an old, wasn't he? For going crazy like that. But it turns out that he was a little bit of a general douchebag. A general douchebag, as the Americans would say. But guess what? Deep down inside, the music makes us all douchebags. I had a roommate once, a long time ago, back in 1986-87. I had the opportunity of studying at Musicians Institute in California. That's a story in itself. I didn't complete the course and I had a lot of problems. Not that anybody would really care, and especially not from the jazz world. It's a compassion-free environment I found. Once again, I'll let you in on this later. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. What's it to you, huh? Why should you care? I bet you don't. At any rate, he was the sweetest. He was a sweet, kind, shy sort of guy. Fun to be with. Except when we started talking about jazz. Who was good, who wasn't good. What kinds of jazz was good. What kinds of music was good. Then he turned into this raving, elitist snob. He became a truly horrendous human being. This guitarist is not good. That guitarist is not good. You call that jazz? The gatekeeping was unbelievable. So many kinds of music I truly loved that I believed, that I thought, well, it's jazz. Yeah. You know, it's not rock. It's kind of like in between everything, but you go to the record shop back then, they'll put in under jazz. You open up Downbeat magazine even, and they're calling it jazz there. But to all these musicians, and he wasn't the only one. I started speaking to other jazz guitarists in the school, and guess what? They were all like that. And these were the nice guys. Because they played well. They played well, and they're generally nice until it comes to their opinions. But the real douchebags, the people who would just walk around and act as if they own the whole damn place, and you don't exist. You exist, perhaps, to just kiss their wonderful jazz god feet. But these people can't play. They're really horrible. I wonder if that guy at Smalls, the jazz club in New York, the little recent incident, was like that. I never heard him play. I don't know. Possibly. Who cares? But the online jazz community kept berating him, making fun of him, even long after he apologized for it. He can't be that bad to apologize. But then he did say he wanted to play music at the highest level. That should. That's a red flag in itself. What do you mean music at its highest level? Personally, I want to do music that speaks to me, that calls to me. Music with heart. Music can be exciting, can be sexy, but music with heart. It's intelligent. There's a chakra above the head, which is characteristic of our link, perhaps to our intuition, to our subconscious minds, to what some people believe as the universal unconscious. I do not know if there is an infinite pool of intelligence or love. But I would like my music to behave as if it does exist. It connects that to here. There's so little of that in jazz. Spiritual jazz? I don't know. When I listen to it, it's still solar plexus chakra here. There's an incredible amount of dissonance. These people are looking for God. Maybe angry and afraid God doesn't exist. It's very sad, actually. My experience in the jazz world, excommunicated from the jazz world. It's very sad. There's so many reasons to excommunicate me, to reject me. Nothing to do with whether I can play or whether I'm a good person or a kind person. It may have to do with any one of these. They don't communicate any of these to me. They're gonna come up to me and say, well, we're transphobic, transmissic. We hate you because you're a transgender woman. I'm not gonna say that. They're far too discreet for that. Are they gonna tell me, we hate you because you're Asian. We hate you because you're not American. We hate you because you're poor. Because you're old. We will never know. There was a website called, or there is still a website called All About Jazz, and an American critic, the only one, or one or two. There was another one from another website who ran a website. He considered my work, my album, Songs from the Breastbone Drum, of a truly world-class standard, and even wrote that humble little old me should be a household name, but I don't really care to be a household name. I just want to make a living at this, and I can't make a living. My spouse is literally hurting herself every day doing manual work, delivering food now, without a bike, without a PMD, without a bicycle, just on. I can't walk. I've got complex post-traumatic stress disorder from a lifetime of abuse here in Singapore. Singapore is a very abusive society by and large. I mean, I speak in generalities. There are some good people here, I suppose. But the social system is toxic in extremis. Sort of how the United States is nowadays. Sure as hell getting there.